Hi everyone, my name is Chaosity, or Chaos, and I'm what I like to call the ringleader of Restar. Restar is an international award-winning craftsmanship and performance cosplay team that adores idols and idol culture. We've been performing since 2016 and we love to invite our friends along to make some fun and exciting performances. We typically handcraft our costumes from scratch so that they have multi-use for contests and 2D idol concerts alike. Our main driving force is just to really make something that we're proud of and happy to watch back and remember how much fun we had putting it together. Our biggest inspiration that I'm sure a lot of cos idols can agree on is seibu concerts and their exhilarating performances and beautiful costumes. We actually got to see firsthand a display of some of these costumes from King of Prism. I don't know if you guys know King of Prism, but I got to see them on my first trip to Japan, and I felt like it really rewired our brains when it came to constructing costumes from that point on. And oh my god, when I say that they are gorgeous, I mean they were drop dead gorgeous. They had texture everywhere and it was like the perfect amount. Chef's kiss. So good. When it comes to a group experience, I really do feel like to make the best product, you have to work with everyone's strengths to shine together. Depending on the project, we typically delegate certain responsibilities to certain members. For example, I typically handle the visuals and the designing of like how everything looks together. My wife handles a lot of the logistics and construction of the costumes. And some of the other members will either make like choreo or typography, all that kind of fun stuff. I think group environments do teach you a lot and allow you to see things that you typically wouldn't see otherwise, or from another point of view. They just, I don't know, it's fun, and they just allow you to make like a lot of memories. It's like a big family. I like to call Restar a big family, and I don't know, it's just fun being in a big group. My biggest piece of advice is just to be respectful to one another and communicate. It's really that simple. I mean, we're all human, we all make mistakes, so as long as you talk things through, I think you can work most things out. You know, I'm not sure if we had a real debut. We started doing performances because a friend invited us. She was like, hey, you want to do this thing on stage with us? And I had no clue about idol stuff, and I was just like, hey, dancing on stage with a lot of sparkles seems fun. So me and my wife and the other member did a lot of halftime performances with our friend, and I guess at the end of the day our biggest goal was just to have fun together, and I'd say that we've accomplished that. If we were having fun, I don't think we would continue to do it anymore. So we continue on and have fun with our friends. We've learned a lot over the course of being cos idols. It's not a black and white thing. Everything is learned through experiences, I think. Especially through like cosplay competitions, also have a similar environment. I think the biggest thing is that you can't be too hard on yourself. There's always room to improve, there's always a next time, and at the end of the day, if you get on that stage, there will be at least one person in that audience or crowd that you will inspire, and I think that is the most rewarding thing at the end of the day. Our short-term goal at the moment is tying up our current projects. I know it seems kind of lame for this interview, but that is the current goal. Our main goal though is to perform outside of the US for an idol-centric event. So many places around the world have such a passionate idol culture. We actually judged a craftsmanship contest at a con called WinterCon in Riga, Latvia recently. And oh my god, their idol costumes and cosplayers and performances were so good. They were so insanely talented. They're like on a different level. It's crazy. We tend to dip our toes in a lot of franchises in media. Recently, up until now, our main focus had been on stars due to their like really strong and identifiable concepts. Same with when we did Trigger from Idolish 7. They just have like a really confident presence that's extremely fun to translate into the stage and costumes and just play around with like that major theme. Sometimes the more vague concepts do give you more of a like broad palette to work with, but I kind of find it more fun to like find something that's like really thematic. So for like Trigger, it's like, oh, they're like sexy and they have swords and there's black and silver, and I'm like, okay, let's make like a collage and like put all of that together and see what we can come up with that. And that was like the fun for it for me for a lot of these projects. Same with Switch, you know, they're these gamers and they have green and they have lights, so I'm like, oh, let's use shoe lights, the little shoes with the LED lights. Like, I don't know, it's just fun to work with. I really like really strong themes. You know, character portrayal is incredibly important to our team. You know, that includes facial acting and body language. All of that I think are really key to making a powerful and energetic performance. Because at the end of the day, I'm not a professionally trained dancer, but if I see like the character coming out in the performance, I think sometimes that makes up for the fact that I'm not the best dancer. I try. Yay, I love this. Okay, we actually did previously conduct a panel on this. So we take a lot of steps to ensure that our costumes not only last a long time, but also withhold through vigorous dances. We tend to use a lot of breathable fabrics, strong closures. My personal favorite is sewing our hats onto our wigs. We did that for a recent performance at Anime Milwaukee for Alkaloid. We had to dedicate like 30 minutes to sew each member's hat to their wig to make sure that it didn't fall off. And I think that's a really funny anecdote. And of course, lots of hidden safety pins. We even made a little thing in our panel called the Little Oopsies video, where I asked a lot of members of our community to send in clips of like things going wrong during their performance, because it happens to everyone. But oh my gosh, it's lovely to see that it happens to everyone and we can all grow from it. So we tend to do our best to make sure that that doesn't happen, but it's not the end of the world if it does. My wife and I are what we call vintage cosplayers. We are completely self-taught. We learned everything through trial and error and of course online research. Our roots of cosplay, both though at different times, is Nintendo. We love Nintendo, we love video games, so at the end of the day that is where we connected. We mentioned before that we were kind of thrown headfirst into the cosplay performance community by our friend, but I think what really evolved into what we do now is when we decided to like take it to the next level and combine our love for these franchises with our dedication to making you know, cosplay craftsmanship worthy pieces, and you know, taking our time and really dedicating ourselves to that, I think is when we really leveled up. Initially, our biggest challenge was finding others that were interested in the male idol franchises, because that was like our main thing. Not that I don't love or like female idols, but like male idols were really like what catapulted me into the idol space, and I really wanted to do like, you know, the bigger groups like Idol 7, and I just didn't know anybody in the community that liked it. Of course now, you know, so much has changed through the years that, you know, we have tons of friends and people that like we could do this stuff with till the end of time, you know, and we get to bond with them through performing. So I think that was our biggest obstacle. There's always room for improvement, and you know, we'll continue to strive and create fun and immersive sets and performances to learn alongside each other, and I think that's the beauty in it all, you know? I don't want to ruin a surprise. You'll just have to find out, because you know, I always say I don't like saying like dream cosplays or dream performances and stuff, because like it's not a dream. I can get it. I can reach it. So guess you'll see. My piece of advice is just to take everything one step at a time. You know, don't rush yourself for a debut. Take your time and make it memorable, you know, and of course, take every step as a learning opportunity. You don't learn anything if you're not applying it to yourself. Where do we learn to sew and craft? Internet? No, me and my wife are completely self-taught, so everything that we've done, we've either learned from research, we've learned through application, trial and error, or our peers in the community, because everyone is just extremely nice to share their knowledge. So I love when people are nice. For equipment, we have a sewing machine. It's a Skyline S9. We actually won that from a contest. Yippee! I would not pay that much for a sewing machine, but if you do, good on ya. I do not have that kind of money. We have a serger, a Cricut. We have a friend with a 3D printer that we send the files we make to, along with the resin printer. To be honest, we don't have anything that crazy. We do a lot of stuff with what we got. You know, I would have to say the embroidery function on our sewing machine, you know, it makes mass producing our costumes for our team, I say mass production like we're making 20, but you know, making 4 is a lot when you're doing like high-level craftsmanship stuff on them. The embroidery just makes it so much easier and lets us do some really cool techniques on stuff like that we typically, you know, it would take months to do it by hand, so that's cool. I like that. You know, maybe it's not so much a technique, but just being knowledgeable about fabric weight and interfacing will make a night and day to your costume and how it fits you and lays on you, and it will make it a lot more flattering. For example, one of our recent costumes, and you know, we're learning along the way, one of the fabric for the sleeves, the rest of the costume, it worked nice because it was really light and it was breathable for the performance. However, the sleeves were a little jelly. They were just kind of like, they didn't look like sleeves, right? So we had to play with some interfacing, and at the end of the day we got them to work properly and they laid well and they look structured. So mess with your interfacing and your fabric weights and all of that fun stuff, because yeah, it can make a big difference. My crafting studio. You're currently in it. I know you can't see much, but it is a 12 by 12 approximately foot room. To be honest, I haven't measured it. From what I know, it's 12 by 12 with poor airflow, projects everywhere, 2 computers, and where I spend 90% of the time with my wife. I joke, but this really is my happy place. For most of our materials, we either have them shoved in the closet or we have them in a storage unit because my house is very small. But as you can see, there's projects everywhere, and yeah, no floor space, no wall space either. Ooh, a bit of a sore subject. You know, with the state of everything right now, we used to order a lot of our materials from Joann's and AliExpress, but at the moment we are trying to go more towards online retailers, and we started to make a swatch book with all of our swatches and stuff. This is a vinyl swatch book as well, and then we started collecting our swatches that we ordered to put in a little book. So I highly recommend any cosplayer or crafter start making something like that, because it's gonna be life-changing at this point. No more Joann's. I think probably our Aurora and Sonia cosplays from Zelda Tears of the Kingdom took the longest. They had so many like little pieces, and we had to do so many new techniques for the first time, like prosthetics and LEDs and electrical stuff. Not to mention their wigs were huge, so that took quite a long time themselves. We're proud of all of our costumes. If I had to pick a favorite though, probably our Tatsumi and Maewei feature scouts. were our favorite. They're just like really pretty and romantic, and they complement each other really well. And I just have such fond memories in them. Oh gosh, well, we try to be one for one as part of our recreation philosophy, due to our basis being in competitions and craftsmanship contests, and a lot of them are focused on like one-to-one recreation. But texture is really important to us at the end of the day. Sometimes the source media can be like a little flat and doesn't translate perfectly, so you kind of have to take those creative liberties. But we do try to keep theming in mind when we make these choices. And practicality, of course. We try to avoid having too fragile of things, like, too many beads hanging, if that can be helped, especially if we plan to perform in the costume. I always say, before every performance, I'm like, my worst nightmare is having beads pop and like scatter all across the stage. And then even to the extreme of like somebody falling on them and making a Scooby-Doo sound, that scares me. I have nightmares about it. And I know it's happened to people in the community. It has happened at an event in front of me, and it's still so scary and unreal to me. Ooh, I love this. Okay, our team has a term, and I will censor myself, called the "oh crap" bag. We bring quite literally something for every possible mishap, and I highly recommend it. We bring tons of glue, safety pins, needles, thread, batteries, band-aids, medicine, paint, you name it, it's in there, I promise. It's in there. We make like a checklist before we pack it, so it's like everything that could go wrong. Here's the remedy, Two pieces of advice. Don't be afraid to mess up your first couple of times. It happens to everyone at every level, beginner, masters, everything. And don't be afraid to ask other crafters questions. Cosplayers and crafters love sharing knowledge, and it just makes the community so much nicer. So just make some friends, ask them. Feel free to reach out to anyone, even us, if you want help. Just the worst thing they could say is no, or don't open it. But most people are willing to help more than you would think. We are based in Florida. We tend to go to a lot of Orlando and Tampa-based conventions, so you may see us around. Maybe we might try Miami sometime, I don't know. Find out. I feel like it's about 50-50. Luckily, we do have a lot of opportunities here where we're at, but we do love to perform, all around with different communities and meet new teams and different communities and people. It wasn't an idol performance per se, but the furthest that we did do a live performance was when we went to South Korea for Geek-Off, the Gyeonggi International Cosplay Festival, where we did Pokemon. I did Ayano, so she's close enough to idol for me, I think. I touched upon this in a previous question, but during our trip to judge the craftsmanship contest at WinterCon in Latvia, it was so heartwarming to see how passionate these performers were. They were relegated to perform in the cosplay contest specifically because they didn't have an idol event. They only had a K-pop theme event. But I really do hope that they come together and, maybe put on an idol track for their conventions, because they really do deserve it. Oh, probably our trip to A-Kon, rest in peace. It was just so much fun, the staff was amazing, accommodating, the performers were extremely supportive and nice to one another. Anime Milwaukee was definitely up there as well. And of course our trip to South Korea for Geek-Off, it was so much fun. Prepare well in advance. Don't take shortcuts. And schedules and packing lists are absolutely vital. Do not skim. Do not skim. Start your lists way in advance. You will forget something, so make those lists. Yes, of course. So I just want to say to continue to work towards your dreams. Don't let anybody stop you, and you can make anything reality. Just put your heart to it. And of course, don't be afraid to reach out to your peers and the other people in the community. You can always shoot us a DM if you ever have any questions. You can find us on most social media platforms as some variation of Restar or Restart Idol project. We have most of our stuff on our Restar card if you would like to check us out. And I want to thank the staff here for inviting us to do this interview. Thank you guys so much. It was nice meeting you, and we hope to see you around. Bye-bye.